All right, guys, listen. The only thing that matters if you subscribe right now or comment or whatever you're doing right now, go to the page. What's the name? Oh, go to the page right now. What's the name? I was talking to my friend right there, the sexy Chauncey the Bear. You know what time it is. There's two of us, and there's two of them, right? Those wrestling girls, there's two of them. Make sure to subscribe, like, watch, enjoy.
Queen PR, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.
Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen PR.
And today we are back with part 2 of our Becky episode because we know you guys want it. We know you guys have been dying for it. And we are here to deliver it to you. Like, who are we not to deliver on what you guys want, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love our series. I love Becky. I love this time of Becky. But, you know, it's a good time. It's a good time to talk about her. It's missing Becky hours.
Yes, definitely missing Becky. Like, we last seen her a little bit after SummerSlam because she was injured, and it was just like, we need to bring Becky back. And I keep saying this, I feel like she's about to be in that War Games and Survivor Series because I feel like that would be the perfect time for her to recover, for her to do what she got to do. You know, I got to have my big time Becks right here.
I love the surprises. Like, let's do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But before we get into all of that, you know, we have to do our check-ins. So, P, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good, yo. Like, we're fresh off our celebration. I'm just so filled with love and gratitude, and I'm not gonna say I couldn't be happier, but I'm very much filled with like so much gratitude. God is
right. Good. God is amazing, to be honest. Like, I can't believe like we're 4 years in, bro. Like, that is so crazy to me. 4 years plus, right? So crazy to me. And this week has been super crazy. Like, I've seen Paramore for the third time.
Oh, you're lucky.
Girl, so much fun. Go from there, goes from all these events and stuff at work that I'm just very, very blessed to be a part of. Very, very blessed to just be around and like witness, take it all in. Like, I feel like sometimes we don't get a chance to take in everything because we're living in those moments. But
I never do. Like, I'm always so just like, okay, like, what's next? And like, I've learned to take that moment to be like, no, like, we accomplished a lot, especially this year alone, where it's like one where I would have wished we released more episodes. But in hindsight, it's like we, you know, partnered with Manscaped, you know, being a part of PWI. Like, there's so many like other things that, you know, are blessings that, you know, you don't expect. And that's why you have to be present and thankful. And I also just want to just shout out like all of the people in our community, because they definitely came out for us as always. Shout out to our sponsors.
Right.
Everyone that helped out, like, just showed like how much love is in the community. And I think, you know, being more grateful for those things than as opposed to like, you know, getting to 1,000 subscribers, those milestones are amazing. But I think more appreciating like the real life things, like the people. And, you know, I was like cutting a Manscaped ad last night, and I was like, oh my God, I love Krista, because like you just see like our dynamic, and I'm like, she's so funny, you know, just appreciating, you know, because we're in like a marriage and a sisterhood at this point. So I love, and you know, even with human beings, like, you know, just taking a second being like, I love, you know, who Krista is, and I love that she's a part of my life within this podcast and more.
Absolutely. And the feeling is mutual, babe.
So I just, you know, just appreciate shit like that, especially so close to Thanksgiving. And, you know, this time of year is hard for me, especially since my grandmother passed. So like just going into it, appreciating life.
Right. Same. Definitely hard since my aunt passed. So, and you know, my dad would literally be at the door before the food was ready. Like, sir, did you smell it all the way from like where you were? Huh? So like, not to have them there is weird. It's weird. So Yeah, I definitely appreciate and take in the little things.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now more than ever because you just never know. So I'm definitely appreciative.
Yay.
So before we get into this Becky episode, y'all know that we have to, plug the sponsor.
Plug the motherfucking sponsor.
So y'all gonna sit here and enjoy this ad, and we'll be right back.
Hi everyone, it's me, Queen PR, one half of those wrestling girls. I want to talk a little bit about our sponsors over at Manscaped. They sent Christy and by some products that we are obsessed with. It's the ultimate hygiene bundle for men, and we want to show men just as much love as you show to us with an exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping on manscaped.com with the code Those Wrestling Girls. And we want all of you to walk away with the Performance Package 4.0. So this fabulous package comes with the lawn mower trimmer, the crop reviver, and the crop preserver, which is ball deodorant, and toner. And you can also get those nose and ear hair with the weed whacker. And also comes with the performance boxer briefs, which are really sexy. And to top it all off, you also get this carrier bag, which is super sleek. So you can put all of your goodies in here. So please, guys, feel confident, feel sexy, and get the performance package by Manscaped using our code Those Wrestling Girls for 20% off and free worldwide shipping over at manscaped.com.
All right, y'all. We hope that you enjoy that ad. Please make sure you use the code Those Wrestling Girls for 20% off on all your Manscaped orders and your products because the holidays is coming up.
Exactly.
The holidays is coming up. We all gonna use our code. We're even gonna use our code.
Yes, Those Wrestling Girls, 20% off.
20% off free shipping
Free shipping.
worldwide.
Worldwide.
So we're gonna use it. Holidays is coming up. Everybody in my family is getting a Manscaped, even if you're a female at this point.
Yes.
Everybody's getting a Manscaped. Everybody's getting a Manscaped. And I said what I said. But to this Becky episode, we had so much fun doing the first one.
We did.
So it wouldn't be right to not do a second one. And now we're on 2018.
Yep.
When
one of my favorite years.
That's like when we saw Becky.
Women's wrestling, like everything. It was so exciting. And Becky was a huge part of that.
Huge part. You see that picture on her wall? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And this was like so iconic. I cannot wait to like get into that moment because it's such a and this was such a polarizing year for Becky too, because it's always that argument of like who made Becky, who got her over, which is like, why is it always something else? And like, okay, we'll get there. But I like talking about 2018 with Becky because she was one of those like surprises that I don't think anyone thought like when the year started that she would ultimately become like who she's become. Because like
for me, I did.
Well, yes, because you were like top, and then the people were behind her. I think I was more talking about like WWE, but like she wasn't the popular one, like you mentioned in the last episode. Like it was more focused on like Sasha and Bailey, especially from going from NXT, and then Sasha and Charlotte, and they're very polarizing within themselves. And Becky was sort of like, okay. But I like to also talk about WrestleMania 34 because she was in the pre-show in 2018, and it's crazy to me because just the next year should be the first
event,
the first
to the main event.
Right, exactly. So I don't know many careers that can go that far in like a 1 year span, and Becky Lynch did that in 2018, and she also had a fun interaction with Bianca Belair in that moment. I think we mentioned that in the last episode. So she really wasn't like that top person in 2018, but the fans, including you, like always seen it.
Always. I feel like for me, there's always some type of potential into somebody, especially when you know that WWE isn't really packaging them right, or not really listening to their viewers, their fans, the universe, the WWE universe. I feel like there's always something there. For that, I felt that in Becky. I'm just like, she's a four horsewoman. Y'all not putting no respect on her name. And she has so much more to offer than quinoa. Don't get me wrong, I do love quinoa.
She like her some quinoa too. Like,
but at the same time, it's like you're just wasting. Like, I feel like with her, y'all just trying to make her, y'all trying to bring her comedic side or value out, and y'all really are losing. You're really losing sight on the athleticism that she possesses, and for them, I feel like, and we're gonna get into this argument a bit when you mentioned earlier, oh, it's like who made Becky, who this, that, and third. I feel like it happened all as like right before the Survivor Series, started. That's why Survivor Series is my favorite, because I feel like that's where it kind of makes or breaks you when you take reigns, because you gotta do the captain, you gotta do all of that. But we're gonna get there. But I feel like leading up to it, she kept using "Yes, I'm the man," kind of like a play off of Austin 316 lettering and colors. She came up with the black shirt where it says "the man" on it, and the belt with the bold white letters, but people weren't really gravitating and grasping onto it at first. People were just like, okay, it's Becky. I even saw things about her on Twitter talking about she's the man. Why she don't change her music? Like when Roman changed or whatever, he's not coming out to Shield's music, right, or whatever what would become his solo music. Right. He's coming out to something brand new.
I think that's too like another interesting thing about Becky that I've noticed, because like how like certain, like when the music hits, it's like it just is like it's like a big moment. And Becky Lynch's music at one point did not necessarily have that effect.
It didn't draw people.
But that same song now, like 4 years later, like when you hear it, it's like it's like exactly deafening. Even recently, like when she wasn't necessarily like the top baby face, but she was more like in that like heel, like time,
like a tweener-ish,
right after she beat Bianca at SummerSlam. But it's interesting how her music went from that to that, like that quick. Even the same thing with the glass shattering, like in 96, 97, early on, like it wasn't the same as it was maybe like 98, 99, 2000, like Stone Cold's glass shattering. Like, so to see like her star rise the way that it did, even her always being, in my opinion, a fan favorite, like I always thought it started at least where I noticed it, the fans were behind her, was Money in the Bank in 2018, because every time she got close to that ladder, the crowd was like, they were for her. Like, and there was a point in time where she did climb the ladder, and she just was always just like a little short. And I think the same with 2017, where it was just like, she was like right there. And it was just, I don't know. I think that was when we started to see like, okay, fans are really itching. Like, okay, we need to see more of Becky Lynch. And she actually went on a winning streak. But during that match, did you think Becky was going to win? Because at one point I did. I was like, oh.
I did think that Becky was going to win at certain points. But, when it comes down to, like, this is what I would never really predict Money in the Bank. I feel like this is like, and you can quote me on this, like, all my other predictions usually come true.
Right.
But Money in the Bank, I have never predicted on a Money in the Bank, because it's just so iffy. It's just so iffy. It's a wild card. It's just something that I'm like, nah. It's like, and I don't predict on Royal Rumble either. I do predict who I will want to see come back, but as a winner, I don't predict on Royal Rumble. Gotcha. So for Money in the Bank, like, edge of my seat. Like, I could have been on the floor, and then the edge of the floor. The floor is kind of never ending. So that's how it was. I'm just like, nail biting, like, rocking back and forth. And like, Becky needs this. Becky needs this. Becky needs this.
At this point, she hadn't been champion for a little bit. And I think people were like, it's time. Like, obviously, Becky has what it takes. Yeah, I know that she has what it takes. Why is she always getting pushed to the back, especially to fucking Charlotte Flair? And I think her heel turn, which what they thought was going to be a heel turn at SummerSlam, ended up not being that, because everyone wanted to see Charlotte get taken out of the spotlight. Everyone wanted to see, because it was supposed to be Charlotte and Carmella, because Carmella had won
No, it's supposed to be Becky and Carmella.
I'm sorry, yes, because Carmella was champion, and it was supposed to be that. And I think I remember being particularly excited for that because I was a Carmella fan at the time. And then Charlotte somehow
Charlotte came to rescue her best friend, from Carmella beating the living daylights out of Becky. And then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon comes and inserts her in the match out of nowhere. And you know what's crazy? I was literally watching, I don't know if you watched it, you probably have, but I was literally watching her episode on Stone Cold Podcast where she talked about that. And this is why I gained a little bit of respect for her because
Charlotte
the way that Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
The way that we viewed it, she viewed it the same way. Like she go, I'd rather had fought for it instead of actually just being inserted by Vince McMahon. Like looking back on it, I would have never wanted it to happen that way because, you know, it did put Becky over after she whooped her ass, which I was there for. I got it on video.
Not the plan.
Which was not the plan. And it's like for you to put your prototype in there, she heel Charlotte, cool. Good. She was like, mind you, Charlotte wasn't a heel at that time.
Right.
So for you to do that to a baby face, like you're automatically pushing her into a heel position, not even building the character up. So when Becky comes and retaliates and is just like, bitch, this is my spine. You did this to me. Now, you know, I'm going to beat your ass because I'm tired of being in your spotlight. You're always dimming my light for you. And then you can see, like, even at the end where Charlotte's crying after she got beat by Becky, she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You weren't sorry when you pulled her off of Carmella to pin.
Right.
You let winning overtake you. And but I feel like if Charlotte would have stayed and let Becky pin Carmella, then fans would have been like, why y'all ain't fight? Y'all let her win, da da da. Or would have been on Charlotte turning on Becky and beating her up. So either way, it was a lose-lose situation.
Yep.
But for Charlotte to feel that way, the way that we felt, it gave me some respect. It gave me some respect.
And like a lot of times, like I try to remember, like, you know, the wrestlers don't book themselves, especially in WWE. So I can be mad that Charlotte is inserted and everything, but she's not the one booking herself. She's not making these decisions. So
True.
It's like, you know, it is what it is. And the fact that it's like I did, like, even like and we'll get to it too, like Becky didn't want to win against Shayna in 2019 at WrestleMania. And I feel like because of the pandemic, maybe that would have been the plan, hopefully. But she was like, it didn't make sense for me to win. Like, you know, this was supposed to be, you know, somebody else's moment. And I love when I hear that because it was easy to get sick of Becky at one point. But to hear that she wanted to see other women get the opportunity, because it does make the stories better when you don't predict that, like, Charlotte's going to win, when Becky's going to win. And I like that.
I like that too. I like that a lot. It gets, like I said, it puts us on the edge of our seats. It keeps us going and keeps us intrigued. And for us not to be as intrigued when, you know, Charlotte comes out because we already know what's going to happen. Or when Sasha comes out because at a certain point, we already knew what was going to happen with Sasha. So even with Becky, like you said, it was easy for fans to get really sick of Becky because of the run that she was having. It's like now you're doing the John Cena treatment. Like even with Roman. How many of y'all, not me, y'all. How many of y'all was sick of Roman coming out doing this? Now, don't get me wrong. I was definitely sick of him doing the same moves. Like, do something else. And I said that. I voiced that. Hey, yes, Roman fan over here. Can we change up his skill set, his move set? Can we da 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 da? Now he got his swagger back.
Yep.
He got the swagger we all been looking for. Okay. 100%. And I feel like that's what happened with Becky.
I agree.
That's definitely what happened with Becky. Like,
I agree.
She did Money in the Bank. You know, she did whatever she did leading up to Survivor Series.
Oh yeah, and Survivor Series. Ooh, she was like red hot going into Survivor Series. Like this is when it was like, okay, like she was coming out to crazy applause. I remember her doing her little heel promo after SummerSlam
and calling Ronda Ronnie.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. So yeah, so it was getting real. Her and Ronda's feud was getting intense. You can tell. I was like, I don't think they really like each other too much. I think this is when Ronda Rousey started seeing how fickle the crowd is, because Ronda came in as a baby face. They were trying to turn Becky Lynch heel, but everyone fucking loved Becky Lynch and the version that this was. The man was starting to creep up. Survivor Series is about to be like head to head, because yeah, it was getting real.
This is why Survivor Series
so
is my
exciting.
favorite.
It was so exciting. The invasions, like, oh my God. Like, I even get goosebumps, and I have to just, like, shout out to Lauren Moran. That's her illustration of this moment. It was like so iconic. But were you watching SmackDown Raw live when this happened?
The invasion?
Yeah, when she got
yes. I feel like we were. Where was I? I was still living at home, and of course, like Monday Night Raw. This was 2018, correct?
Yep.
So always have to include my aunt in this because she will always be cussing me out because I'm yelling at the TV. Me and my big age yelling at the TV. 2018. I just started journalism school, just started grad school. So I'm watching wrestling, and you know me, I was going to watch it because I love Survivor Series. I love the invasions. So once you start seeing the camera go crazy, that's how you know it's something.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the year where NXT got involved.
No, this is the following year.
Okay. So
and
you saw like first you saw it was the guys and the girls, okay? So of course, like I'm not sure if this was I know that Roman and Seth were on the same team, but Dean Ambrose was on the opposing side. So I remember that. And then you see the camera going crazy, going to the girls' locker room. Next thing you know, you see Ronda and a disarm by Becky.
And
like, what the fuck? How do you put?
I was literally like, her? Fuck, yo! And no one had really like overpowered Ronda too much.
Never.
And to see that Becky was able to get one up on her and put her in her own submission, like that's how you knew. And I'm just like getting like chills just even thinking and talking about it. I'm like, yo, this is like when I became like, yo, Becky is everything. Like that's when I knew I rides for her.
It brought back that cave. It brought back like that Austin Rock ever on Rock. Like it brought the Attitude kid back in me for that. Like, and I feel like that's what Survivor Series does. Like, I'm not saying that no other pay-per-view does it, but for Survivor Series, because now you know who's really going to stand on your team. You know, like now you know who's going to stand on your side. So when they started invading. And they all swinging, and Ronda Rousey comes out holding her arm, and she's still trying to fight and do flips and stuff, and then bam, Nia Jax hits Becky. Mind you, I'm like, yo, when did Becky get hit? Like, they're all over the TV. You can't focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And then bam, Becky gets hit by Nia Jax.
Like nothing, but you don't know that it's detrimental yet. Because Becky just keeps
adrenaline.
Going. I think she like stops real quick, and like I think a couple girls check on her, but she keeps going. She's in autopilot, and she's still doing everything. You don't know that anything is wrong yet. And then at one point, you're like, "Is Becky bleeding?"
Right, she was bleeding,
just, like, gushing blood, and she's just like, "Oh my God!"
Do you have that picture when she's standing on the steps?
I do.
And her nose is bleeding. Please pull that up because that right there, I will have that picture printed and blown up on my wall. I promise.
When Lauren Moran, shout out her, when she first did the illustration, when I saw it online, like, oh my God, I have to fucking get this. And then it sold out. And then Comic-Con, I was like, shout out to Alex. I was like, okay, I'm definitely getting this.
I need one. I still need one.
But yeah, this photo, so iconic. Like I can't even deal. Like it's just
right. I wish we could play the entire segment, that whole segment, but we can't. Copyright issues. Yeah, we get it. But if you can, we have to figure out which Raw this was, like the date of this Raw, because I would definitely go on Peacock, fast forward it right to this invasion part and see it. But Now when you watch it, they put it in black and white. Like it's just so like
It was
have
the
a moment.
November 12th edition of Raw. So at the
November 12th.
anniversary actually just yeah, when this
Okay,
happened, and this solidified her into man, the man status.
this is when she
But
became the
we have
man.
to talk 100, yeah, 100%. But we have to talk about, it's talked about all the time, that Nia Jax is why Becky Lynch is the man. This is what has always been your view on that, especially now, like, 4 years later? Like, what do you think about this moment in the context of Becky's career? Is Nia Jax really need to be named? I'm sorry to saying her name on this episode, actually.
I okay, and this is just my opinion. So, like I always say, don't fight me, fight your mama. Um, but I don't feel like that she made her the man, but I do feel like because she got hit in the face and everybody saw like the blood and stuff, it just catapulted her to man status because of the sympathy that the crowd was given.
Mm.
So I would say that Nia Jax inadvertently helped Becky Lynch become the man because the way that she hit her and all of like who think like this is pure Austin right here.
Mm.
Pure
Mm-hmm.
Austin attitude, pure Austin persona,
Ooh,
just like wiping the blood and I get that's like putting somebody's blood on you across your chest, like literally across the chest, like I own you. I did that too. Now I'm marked, you're mine. My blood is on you, or your blood is on me because you're mine. This is what that gave. And I feel like because they couldn't call Becky the rattlesnake or female Austin, they had to call her the man because it was definitely in a title, entitlement of endearment, where it's just like
Mm-hmm.
and because
Oh,
of this, Becky goes on to be the first
definitely.
woman to cover a WWE game. She was the only woman included in the men's
Mm-hmm.
club, like on in the all men's club in that commercial. Like Becky took this to new heights, and that's because Nia Jax inadvertently punched her in the face. So I wouldn't say that
No,
Nia created the
seriously.
man,
And
but
I
she helped.
I would definitely say that, she helped. And I think when it comes to like wrestling, like you have to have like dance partners. So it's like maybe Nia Jax isn't the sole reason, but let's be real, that punch, thank God she's okay. But this is a moment that's gonna live on in history. Like I think about like Kofi Mania wouldn't have happened if Ali wasn't injured, because that's why Kofi entered that gauntlet match. So it's like wrestling is one of those freak things where it's just like, this
Although the
happened.
Usos did say it was there, it was because of them.
Oh shit. But yeah, like you just never know how these sorts of things happen. And this happened, and Becky, made the best out of it. And, going back to the man, like in wrestling, that's how you always refer to like the top person, the top attraction, the top money maker, to where if you take them off the card, no one's making money. That's who the man
Right.
is. So Ric Flair was always the man for the most part, especially back in the day. So he coined that. Well, I wouldn't say coined it, but he was that. And it got to a point where Becky Lynch was like, I'm the man. And she was in WWE. Like she was opening every show. You were waiting that Austin effect where it's like every show they showed Becky all through the show. Like anything she was doing, whether it was a backstage segment, whether it was when she arrived, whether it was, other interviews and her coming out to the ring, like she was the main thing. And it was exciting. Like I wasn't, and I think that's why, her, having to actually not be in Survivor Series, which everyone was like, okay, this is her next big match against Ronda Rousey. It sucked that she had to sit that out. I mean, she had bigger, we would know she would go on to do bigger things, but I think everyone appreciated that moment that she
I
had
think
to.
so too. I honestly think so too. Although I do feel like Naomi would have definitely did her justice against Ronda Rousey or even Sonya Deville, but we know that Sonya and Ronda had some low key real heat. So I don't even know how great of a match it would have turned out to be.
Right.
But I at the time I was definitely mad that Becky picked Charlotte, but I wasn't surprised at it because I'm just like, okay,
All right.
who else?
Shocker.
Shocker,
And
right? But
I
then
ended up not hating that. So, I didn't end up hating that.
because Charlotte was wailing on Ronda. Okay, that kendo
So,
stick.
and
This
I
is what I need. This is what I need. I need a shillelagh and a kendo stick. Okay, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. I just like the way shillelagh sounds, and I want one and a kendo stick. Why wouldn't you want a kendo stick? Just
Exactly. I mean, Kenny, that ended up being an intense match. And we missed Becky, but she was good almost because
that
it was
baby
just
was concussed. Okay,
she needed that
she
time
was
off for
concussed.
sure.
Okay,
But
put that
even
on the shirt.
Becky,
That baby was concussed.
yeah, and she even called that a blessing in disguise.
She
And
did.
then she ended up coming back and had that amazing match, one of my favorite matches at TLC, with against Asuka and Charlotte. That I mean, can't really
You can't really.
go
You
wrong.
got three of the
And
best
Asuka,
players.
yeah.
You got three of the best players, best female superstars in one
Yep.
ring.
Yeah, and Ronda Rousey interfered in that match, and I remember being like, "Yo, you." Even though it ended up in Asuka winning, I hated that somebody interfered for that to happen. But it was good to see the belt on someone that wasn't Charlotte and Becky for a little bit.
I love the interference because it just built for what we got at WrestleMania.
Right. You're
And like I said, that whole era between 2018 and 2019 WrestleMania, it literally brought us back to. Well, I can't really speak for you, but I feel like we have the same sentiments to what we witnessed in Attitude Era when somebody went into like if Rock and Triple H was having a match and Stone Cold ain't like neither one of them. Stone Cold's going to interfere. Vice versa for Rock interfering, Triple H interfering, or whoever interfering. Like somebody random just interfering. Like, why you here? And you find out why they there. Like it literally just took us back to those moments. And I feel like that was like literally in a long time some of the best creative that we've seen before, Triple H came and have us on the edge of our seats. Like I really want to know who's coming back on Monday Night Raw. Now I gotta hit now I gotta cancel plans and make sure I'm home.
Back to those times again. But in that era, like you said, it was must watch. You had to tune in. I had to see what Becky and Ronda, even on social media, they kept it going afterward, like coming for each other. Becky was really hurting her feelings. But
go it in. I'm like, you better go ahead, Ronnie. Go ahead. Hey,
Ronnie. Every time I heard Ronnie, I was like, oh my God, Becky, you are a crazy person.
Right. Hey, Ronnie girl.
Hey, Ronnie. Like, oh my God. But at Royal Rumble, in 2019, she lost against Asuka in the beginning of the pay-per-view, which I enjoyed that match. I always enjoyed Becky and Asuka. They always have good matches. You could tell they really love and respect each other. But then Becky somehow makes it into the Royal Rumble.
No, we know how she makes it into the Royal Rumble.
I was gonna say that Lana was injured and Nia
beat up Lana.
And then Becky Lynch came and she ended up winning.
And Fit was just like, no, your knee, you're injured. And when I say we were in Legends, screaming at the TV, like, let her back.
Oh my God.
Be in there. Like we were in Legends going in, like just screaming at the screens.
I can just see it now, like her coming down the ramp and like her arguing with Finn and just being like, no, let me in. And I love the build. Like some things, like it's just like perfect timing and the build of that, because the way the crowd was at the edge of their seats, and then the roar. When he goes like this and lets her in, it is like chills. Like I get chills because the crowd was so like, yeah. Like I think we all, and then she, like, her leg was injured and all that, whatever.
No, that's an important part though.
It is an important part just because I hate it. It just got so much after a while. But yeah, she was. And she ended up winning, and it was cool.
It was an important part to play because she won. And then everybody started noticing her leg, and that's when we got to see Stephanie come out and be like, hey, you're moving gingerly, like you could barely climb up here. Like, we need you to go get your knee checked out. She got suspended indefinitely. She beat up Stephanie. She said, if you're not clear. So it was like Becky was making some points like if I'm sidelining again, I'm just gonna take this away from me. Which I feel like that was coming from a place of truth, because look how many times Becky was sidelined.
Exactly.
Look how many times Becky was overlooked. And nobody really wanted to see. And then that's when Vince came out and definitely just interjected Charlotte. Like, what did you do to get here?
As per usual, and I feel like hit it right on the head with it felt real, and that's why the fans were so behind the main character, because she was the underdog that was like, yeah, I know what it is. Y'all gonna push Charlotte Flair in this, even from SummerSlam before, you're gonna push Charlotte Flair in this match, she gonna win, she gonna have a 1800 title reign. We was feeling it just like Becky was feeling it, and she was like, nah, fuck out of here, because like, I know what's up. Like, very Austin vibes. Very
right,
like,
I feel like, and didn't she hijack the ring like Austin too? Shit.
It was a lot of things she did in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. She got arrested. She got suspended a couple times.
Can we talk about that epic brawl where they all got arrested? Please, because I honestly don't even feel like we should be taking a break on anything because of the fact that it's just so much that's just so iconic, and I'm just like, I don't want to stop talking about it. I have to get it all out right now.
That was such a good build up. Like the three of them, the war of words, the social media, the fights, the car when they all got arrested, and
and then they put Ronda and Becky in the same car.
That was so good.
Like, that camera panned. It was like, oh, and they're kicking each other, and they kicked the window out. But what I noticed was that they were intentionally not kicking each other so that one of them can get to a window to kick out. If you go back to watch that footage of them two in the car, I'm just like, damn, I could have kicked a little bit better. And then Charlotte comes and knees Ronda in the face through the window, and they all get taken to jail afterwards because that's just how that is. But that was so good. Like, who wrote this? I need to know who wrote this.
That's when I was kind of after a while when Charlotte was inserted into the match, because I'm like, she's bringing so much to it, like especially with the build up. I was like, yes.
Yeah, I need to know who wrote this, because this was amazing. Like, that was amazing. And then Becky's cleared.
Yep.
And we're on our way to WrestleMania.
Yes, first women's main event. What was your reaction when you heard that news?
Yes, I'm gonna be there to witness it.
Yes, because that shit was definitely in New York.
It was definitely a New York, Jersey thing, and it was my first WrestleMania.
What a great WrestleMania.
Right, to have to be the first, like, it was my first WrestleMania. Shout out to my job.
Yes.
Although the tickets was all the way near Jesus, I couldn't sit. When I tell you, I don't understand how people sit that high in stadium arenas like that.
Terrifying.
I had went with my cousin, and he had got to stand up. I said, "Hey, don't step too close now, because if you go over, I can't explain this to the family."
Oh, so at WrestleMania, this is what happened.
This is what happened, and I couldn't hold him. He's bigger than me. Like, what did you want me to do? But it was a lot of history making moments at that WrestleMania.
Yeah, it really was. That was such a great, 35 was amazing.
It was amazing. I don't think there was no boring match at that WrestleMania. Like, although we didn't want to see Roman and Drew McIntyre fight, that was a good match. That was an excellent match. It was Roman's first match back from his cancer, from being in remission again. Drew McIntyre was just like, do we need him? Like, why we had the Miz and Shane and them jumping off up. I was sitting there, like, literally, my seats was here. and the scaffolding was probably about like, I want to say like one section over. So it was a section next to me and then right over there. And I came downstairs because my friend was just like, oh, there's empty seats in front of me. There was no way I was going to witness. I was going to feel that excitement all the way up near Jesus. What's up, Lord? But, and then Kofi Mania.
Oh, that was everything.
Kofi Mania. And then Batista finally beaten, no, Triple H finally beaten Batista. And the gruesomeness of that match, because he ripped up that nose ring and I got upset. Because I was like, nope.
Oof.
It was a
great
lot.
Mania.
It was such a great
and then
Mania.
for that to make they had a lot to like follow.
It was also because of that Mania. We have 2 days now. Thank you. Because
yes, and also I think there was like no, that was the year after. It was like, wasn't there a rain delay? But that was last year. But yeah, it was a long show. I remember that. I remember I love the entrances. Cool. And by that time, I'm not even gonna lie to you, because Kofi Mania took so much out of us, and it was like after midnight at this point. By the time the main event went on, it was definitely like, okay, the match to me, and I'm gonna just say it, like, it did not deliver like how I would have liked it to. Like, I love the history making aspect of it. I thought it was awkward at some points. I think there was a lack of like chemistry between the three of them at some points as well. The finish seemed off. Like, it was like, and respect. This was a big moment.
No, it definitely was a big moment. But I agree with you. Like, actually being there in person to see the fuck ups, the mistakes, stuff, like
the mishaps.
The mishaps. But then also, and I'll never forget this WrestleMania, because when Finn Balor was in the ring, it was this person who was sitting behind me, probably like two rows up behind me. You know how wrestling fans were loud and obnoxious and stuff. Yeah. And he was about to hit the coup de grace. And I think I told this already, and it was just so funny. That's what really stands out. So when he's about to hit the coup de grace, the guy goes, "Here goes the coup de grace." Like,
why is that so funny? Every time I hear it,
stop laughing. Like a coup. I mean, but technically that's how it's spelled. Coup de grace.
Funny.
But I just kept laughing. Then I got to see John Cena in his Thugonomics Word Life.
Oh my God! When I tell you, we popped at Legends.
How about
popping? Like, oh my God! That's when I was
arena,
like really realized within my soul that I'm a John Cena fan. I was like, okay, he's completely grown on me. We've been through the cycle of hatred, and for whatever reason, I don't even know why. And now I just love him so much. But yeah, that was a dope one. So I also hated the fact that both titles were involved. I don't like double champions for the most part. I don't like, although again, because to me it was like, they're already main eventing. That's history making enough. Like, I thought it was overkill to make Becky double champion at that point, just because I hated that. Like, now it's like, now everything is really centered around Becky Lynch. And I loved her. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay, well, why don't we?
At this time, you was very Team Charlotte.
No, I was never Team Charlotte.
Around this time,
I was never Team Charlotte at this point. I was okay with her being inserted in the WrestleMania main event. I was like, I understand why WWE would do that. I never was Team Charlotte. Never.
All right, so y'all, how about this? Y'all I'm gonna insert the clip from that episode.
I was okay with her being in the main event. I was never team like rooting for her. I was never like, I want her to win. I was never like, I want in this feud, I'm rooting for Charlotte. That's never there. Pull up my tweets, please.
I'm not pulling up tweets. I'm just gonna put, first of all, I hate going through Twitter. Fuck that.
No, I'm just saying, because I was never
going to put, y'all let us know if y'all feel like P was Team Charlotte around this time by watching this clip, and then we're gonna come right back.
If you're talking about from WrestleMania episode, again, I was okay with her being inserted. Was I rooting for her to win? Hell no.
So let them decide. Let them watch the clip. Let them watch the clip.
I can argue both sides of everything.
You can.
So it's like, yeah, of course, yeah. Was I rooting for her? No. At this point, I was over it. I hated the fact that she took the belt off of Asuka to be inserted in a match as champion. I thought that was whack. I hated.
That was super whack.
Yeah, I was like Asuka, because then, like for Asuka, we should do an Asuka episode. It was like you won the championship based on like Ronda's interference, and then you lose it just so Charlotte could be champion again.
It's
Like,
stupid. It was stupid. I did love the bill, but let's insert this video. Let's let them watch it, and then we're gonna be back.
yes.
Cool.
Okay, like we get it, and I do believe that. I do believe Ronda added the star power, all that, to make a main event for women.
You know what's crazy? I've been
that.
hearing that if it wasn't for Charlotte, that it wouldn't be a main event because they feel like Becky can't carry.
I do think the three of them were needed. I do, because you had like Becky represented what the people wanted. Ronda is a main draw, and then Charlotte is just like she delivers. She's a big show person. Like I like that she was a part of it, but then they
Heavy
kept.
eye roll.
I didn't realize you didn't feel Charlotte.
I feel like, and it's funny because I saw a snap of me rolling my eyes, a boomerang I did rolling my eyes, and the caption was, mood after you hear Charlotte stealing Becky's spotlight again. I just feel like she's always trying to steal the spotlight.
Yeah.
That's why when Becky was just like, the McMahons are probably going to pay Charlotte
Give
to
her the tag team belt to make her feel better. That was funny.
But it's some truth to that.
Some truth to
like,
that.
I'm not taking Charlotte is an excellent ass wrestler. If she's genetically superior, your father's a 2-time Hall of Famer. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like, first of all, you was out injured, sis. Let's go back to SummerSlam, before SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
You was out injured. You came back and inserted yourself in that match between Becky and Carmella, saying that you was trying to defend Becky.
That was needed though, because
it was not needed.
Who was Becky gonna turn on? Like, it added to the story. Like,
it added
the
to
best friend feud, and then Survivor Series happened. And honestly, if Charlotte wasn't a part of the match, who would have brought in the SmackDown Championship? There would be no Becky 2 belts if
I'm
all
not
three
talking about
parties was involved. So I think I like how everything happened to end up with.
No, I like how everything happened, but I'm just like, everybody's always giving Charlotte that handout. Look, here you go.
You don't think she earned it?
All right, y'all, we're back. So y'all have to let us know if y'all think, and this is going to be the question, is also going to be on our social media. Let us know if y'all believe that Queen PR was Team Charlotte during this time when they were all in that main event. I mean, you did make some valid points.
I was never rooting for her. I just like that she was in the match. I was never rooting for her, though.
I don't ever feel like it was okay for her to be in that match. Because if it was okay for her to be in that match, and you're saying it was okay for her to be in that match against that triple threat with Becky, her and Carmella, like, it was no need for Charlotte to be in that match.
Not that one.
It was no need for Charlotte to be in that match.
So it's like,
I mean, I love the fact that she came out to be W champion. She definitely made history, of course. She two belts. What was it? Two belts. Becky
2 belts.
Becky 2 belts. All right. Because at
this
point, I'm still tired from that day.
It was like, to me, and then I didn't like anything she really did after Mania. Like her feud with Lacey Evans, I hated that was like kind of her first real thing after Mania, because at this point it's like, you made this history and it was supposed to be like this. And I'm sorry, her 2019 for the most part was kind of mid. Like, she was doing the man's man thing with Seth Rollins. Like, it was just like, except her shit with Asuka. To me, that's the only thing that really like stood out in like the Kabuki Warriors. Oh, I liked her feud with Natalya. That was because they, incorporated her father. It was in Canada. But you also Michael Scott was like, I'm getting sent on an international business trip, going to Canada, and just
I don't watch it.
So now, of course, me and Letty have to say Canada because it's just like so stupid. But I don't know. How did you feel about after Mania, Becky 2 belts and all? Like,
I mean, I like Becky 2 belts, but then Becky would go on to lose it.
Right.
But what I can say, after she lost her belt, I did love the stuff that she did with Seth Rollins, because it was few weeks or months later that we found out they were actually dating. So that was just like, you know me, I'm gonna ride with my man gonna ride with me. So I love that. And I hated the feud with Lacey because we all know how I feel about Lacey Evans. Like, I don't even know where she at right now. So, however, I did love the mixed tag that they had at, what was it? It wasn't TLC. Or maybe it was TLC.
Let's see.
I know there was tables involved.
Oh, and Becky took a Baron Corbin.
A deep six.
Yep.
Deep six.
And
it was in that moment he knew.
Yep.
But they lost.
Yeah, I think it was Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. They ended up losing because Seth lost his belt. So Seth lost his belt. Becky kept hers. I don't even know how that happened. I think it's whoever pins who. I'm not sure how that happened.
It was a lot. And I'm so sorry. Like the men.
But I did love that match.
The match was fun because
I did love that match. And I lived that feud. Because it's like once Lacey put her hand, try to seduce Seth.
Right.
It was like
that was and you know, Lacey's a good heel to a certain extent. I wish she could wrestle better because like she's somebody that you could easily hate. You pair her with Baron Corbin, it's like okay, great. And that match was cute too. Like as a couple, it's like, oh, you guys are literally at the top of the world, at the top of your game, at the top of your industry together, and then doing the house shows, being able to work together. Like on that, like on the personal side, I'm like, oh, good for you guys.
That's so
but
cute.
As far as, I loved it. But like as far as watching it as I was just like, it seemed cringy to me. Like it seemed like, I don't know, personally, whatever. And then they did that thing with Maria Kanellis and
her being pregnant part. That I didn't
like. It was just a lot of things that they did with Becky, and it was one of those where it's like, y'all lucky that
I didn't like at all.
Right, like it's like y'all lucky that she has the star power she has because a lot of this ain't hitting, but I'm watching it because it's Becky Lynch kind of vibe. And then it was just like, okay, like I want to see something different to me after a while.
True. I agree. I definitely agree. It was just but then, you know, we wrap up 2019, you know, what happened? I don't Kabuki Warriors. Why am I blanking on Survivor Series 2019?
Because that was when NXT got involved.
That's when NXT got involved. Okay, I should be blanking on that because Bianca done fucking threw Dana Brooke over the damn something.
Right, she got real. This is what I would say. Like you said, Survivor Series season's lit because after her SummerSlam feud with Natalya, that's when like you know it was kind of like okay, what's she gonna do? I did just real quick before we move on. I did enjoy her feud with Natalya because it was like I said in Canada, and it was Natalya had a moment. Like I feel like, and it was a competitive match. It was submission versus submission, so it was like their forte. So it was one of those where I think all of Becky Lynch's feud should have been like that, where it was just like based on like real like shit, like real bitch versus real bitch, like who's better, whose submission is better in Canada, like with the championship on the line. Like to me, I was like, this is probably my favorite after Mania was probably that. Like besides everything else, so she did. I love that.
I mean, but we all know who won.
Yeah. I mean, like, if Natalya won, I would have been, as much as I am a Natalya fan, I would have been on the floor shocked.
I think it would have been nice for her to win in Canada, but but you know, it's all about. I wish, to be honest, I don't even know if Natty's been on TV lately. I haven't really seen her, but then, you know, my SmackDown days is just like, I don't know. But I really want them, like I always say, I want them to do better with her on screen. I want her to win, start winning things again. Okay, maybe she can definitely pull out another championship. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. Anyway,
but yeah, so leading up to the series, how did you like? So I don't like this match, Becky Lynch versus. So this Survivor Series was dope because NXT was involved.
First of all, shit was lit. Shawn Michaels was. It was like Shawn Michaels was leading The Crusade, and then you had who was the general manager at the time for Raw and SmackDown? I know Shane and Triple H. Like they were. I feel like Triple H was on Raw and Shane was on SmackDown. It was like the brother-in-laws are fighting, like, you know. And then with Shawn Michaels coming in, I gotta fight my best friend too. Like, how did I feel? I of course I love when NXT invaded. I always love an invasion. Like,
so cool. Oh my god. And it was so cool because you didn't really expect it. You was like, okay, if NXT does, you hear rumors, but it was like, okay, but you don't know who's gonna come, how they're gonna come, when they're gonna come. And then that one random SmackDown where they got fucking stuck in wherever the fuck, and they all came and
putting that on the shirt, y'all.
That was the
fucking stuck in wherever the fuck is going on the shirt. Okay, right. We have to write these down at this point because these are a lot of quotable moments. Okay.
Yo, that ended up being the best SmackDown. Like, I think I was like, yo, what's gonna happen? And then leading into Survivor Series, I loved it. But how did you like the Becky, Shayna, Bayley triple threat? I hated it. But
I don't remember it, so I guess that's saying a lot.
That says a lot, and a lot of people don't. They posted like a clip from it on Twitter that kind of went a little viral, where people were saying the same thing. Like, I don't remember this because also that was another match where I just feel like there was not a lot of chemistry.
It wasn't a real build to it. I feel like they just put these people together.
Yeah, and like Bayley had just turned heel. I feel like she wasn't really like in it yet, like to where she knew where her direction was, and then Shayna was supposed to be a heel. And then it was like, what do we do with Becky? And then after Shayna won, no, I think Becky won. I know Shayna ended up getting beat up at the end. And I was just like, how does this, so Baszler won. She submitted Bayley, but then Becky the show ends with Becky beating her up. And like her music plays. So I was just like, shouldn't this have been Shayna's moment? But again, Becky gotta be the center of attention,
as she should. But anyway, who's debating?
But yeah, that was an interesting time. But now she feuds with the Kabuki Warriors again, and they have a great match. Her and Charlotte team up to face them. It is amazing. But
oh shit! You know what we forgot? No,
we talk about that a lot. So I was just like,
no, we forgot because you said her and Charlotte teamed up. We forgot to mention how Charlotte teamed up with Becky to fight Sasha and Bayley, and we were there for it.
We was totally there for it.
Like the week before, the week before, we was like, hold on, who gonna come out for Becky and Charlotte music? I don't think I've ever been so happy to see Charlotte day in my fucking life. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I remember I don't know which episode I called it on. I was like, yo, we need a 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match. Yeah. And we got it. Boom. WWE, run my check.
No, and I was like, oh my god, like we were there, like it was all like we were there.
And then they came out with them chairs, they just started swinging. We Charlotte and Becky, of course, they won, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. It was just a lot of emotion going on. That was also, was that a Raw? Or that was a SmackDown.
That was a Raw, I think.
That was a Raw because that was the same Raw that Brie Bella came out and punched the Miz in the face. It was a lot of good stuff that night.
Yeah, it was a lot of good stuff that night. And you'll notice we didn't go into Evolution because we talk about it a lot.
We talk about it a lot.
Our Evolution episode, and we'll talk about the last women's standing match. But
which is I love these last. I don't think there are enough women's standing matches for us to do an episode on favorite ones, like rank them. But I don't think there's enough yet. There's not enough yet. We need like a good 10, unless we go all the way back to watch them to see unless we go back to NXT.
Should we do it, guys? Let us know. Should we do an episode just talking about the last women's standing matches because
and the Iron Women matches, or we can combine them.
Ooh, with specialty matches
specialty matches that women did.
Women, they don't always have the same opportunities, and when they are given them, they show out. And Becky Lynch, every time she has a big match, she shows out. So now we're in 2020, which is crazy.
I got another idea real quick. We should do our best. I don't know if we did it, but ranking our best feuds and matches.
Yeah, that would
Did we do that?
We've done something similar, but we can definitely do something else, because by the time, even if that was 2 years ago, a lot has happened. Things can change,
Because the Sasha, I always say Sasha Charlotte feuds, baby.
Money.
Like, I wish I could have been in them seats every time they fought. Okay, I don't think I've seen a Sasha Charlotte feud in person besides the Four Horsewomen thing.
No, I am all the way there for that. Like, all the way there for that. I also want to talk about her feuds with Sasha during this time. Becky with Sasha was really, really, really good, because this is when she had just came back. Sasha had just came back. She got the blue hair. And they have a pretty good feud. They have a Hell in a Cell match, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I think that was Becky's first Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and Sasha's the only one to do it
against all the horsewomen.
And to have 3. Like, there's only been 3, and now there's been more, but at the time there was only 3, and she's been in 3, and this was Sasha Banks' second, Becky Lynch's first. And I loved it because they really brought out the stops. Like, they brought out the best in each other. I saw spots I had never seen before, and we've seen a lot of Hell in a Cell matches at this point, over the years, especially coming from the Attitude Era. So to see 2 women,
especially the infamous one with Undertaker and Mankind.
Yes, infamous. So to see 2 women do it to that extent, I loved it. It's my favorite.
I agree. I definitely one of my favorites. Of course, Charlotte and Sasha one is another favorite because Charlotte almost killed Sasha as the cell was down.
That was hard to watch now. Also in 2019, Becky was Pro PWI's most popular wrestler of the year. She was number 1 a couple years. Like, 2018 to 2021 was like her year. She was on top of the world. She was on different TV shows. She was on different talk shows. She was everywhere in 2019. And, she actually was one of the first women to make the highest paid wrestlers. She made the Forbes list. Her being called the man, during that time was so, it was on point. It was like, of course she is.
Man, who wouldn't? Why would she not be the man?
She is. And, by this time, I was definitely very vocal about her being, the center of everything. And to hear later on that she knew that she was being overexposed at some points, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise in 2020 when she ended up leaving.
She was pregnant.
Of a feud with Asuka. But it was so sweet, that moment between the 2 of them.
You gonna be a mother? Because Asuka's a mom, so And then Nia Jax comes and try to fucks it up. Like, it was because of this. Like, Becky Lynch is out and Asuka's a champion because of hormones. Like, girl.
Yeah, what a loser.
Say that.
What a loser. She still seems bitter, but anyway, I don't know if it's
loser Nia Jax in the ring, but I love her as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
But that was a sweet moment. I do, again, another moment where I wish Asuka's title reign was more like merit based in a way, but she did win Money in the Bank, so that's a whole other thing. But I did start to miss Becky after a while.
Yeah, I miss her now. Like, her returning at SummerSlam after, being a mom, and she's still a mom, but after the birth of her child and stuff, her returning at SummerSlam
shocked me.
Shocked the fuck out of me. And for her to literally, first of all, they did Carmella dirty once again.
Oh no, always the afterthought.
And then she beats Bianca in like 15 seconds or something like that. Maybe it was less seconds, like 6. I don't know.
Yeah, because she kept bringing it
Bragging
up.
about it.
This is the best 6 seconds of your career and shit. And I was like, yo, Becky, you gotta chill.
Facts. And I was literally like, I remember that day it was pouring raining outside.
Less than half a minute.
It was pouring raining outside. It was disgusting. Like we had it was hurricane season out here, okay? And I remember because the next day I had to go to Summer Jam. I had to work Summer Jam. And it was the first Summer Jam back, and it was pouring raining outside. And I remember I had to jump on a Zoom call or a three-way call. And Lou was watching. Shout out to Lou. Lou was watching it too. So when I get on the call, all they kept hearing saying, "That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit." Because I was going in. That's bullshit. And I'm like, Becky's just so fucking smugged. Like, I hate her because she did that to Bianca. Like,
the nerve. And while you was going, Bianca was holding it down. How you gonna come and be like, take it from her like that? Well, not take it from her, but our girl have to go
redeemed herself.
Right. You right.
Still got the belt.
You right. To this day. But this is when Becky was she wasn't really the man. She was kind of like, this when she became like big time Becks, where she was just over the top obnoxious, which I started to appreciate. Let me a good crown, fur coat. And then Seth started doing more obnoxious things. And then that's when I was like, okay, this is like really, really funny. We realized
they were sharing clothes because
shout out to their stylist.
Right.
She would be on commentary and she would just be talking shit. And it would just be like, okay, because we already don't like you a little bit because of what you did to our girl Bianca. So it's like she leaned into that. I will have to say I have to give it up to Becky Lynch because she understands the psychology of wrestling. She understands the psychology of character work. She knew she couldn't come back the same thing. She knew she had to come back and reinvent herself. And that's one thing she has done. Once again, invent herself. Big time Becks caught on. It was like, oh, okay, like she's just gonna be talking shit. She's gonna be losing. Once she lost her title, like it was, like it was actually pretty funny what she ended up becoming. But I do want to also talk about Crown Jewel. Oh yeah, you got that thing. Her triple threat with Sasha and Bianca.
I want to say I remember that, but I don't.
It was like,
I don't know why I don't. Like, I don't. Was that the Crown? No. Yeah, that was 2020.
2021.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. I think because so much has happened, especially with Sasha Banks.
Why don't I not remember that match? Like, I think now I have to go back and watch it because why don't I not remember what was significant in that match? Of course, besides two black women and a white woman. Right?
Bianca did like her double, her finisher on both of them. Yeah, that's what I remember most. Yeah, it was I remember it being a good match. I remember all of the women being like really emotional beforehand.
I know it was Bianca's first time in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. I think it was Becky's first time in Saudi Arabia as well.
Yep.
Sasha was already there before because her and Alexa had that match, I believe. Right? It was her and Alexa?
Yeah. Her and Alexa.
Y'all, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's old age.
No, but it's funny because, and it's real shit, I think, as a wrestling fan too, because, we're talking about 2018, which is like one of my favorite years where I was so invested. That's the most invested in wrestling I've ever been. Compared to my investment between like talking about 2021, it's very different. So, it's not just you. Like, there's a lot of things that happen. Like, oh, okay. I know that. But it was a lot of cool spots.
Okay. I remember. I'm starting to remember this. I do remember because I thought that there was gonna be some type of what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of conflict when I thought that they were gonna both tap out Bianca and trying to figure out who was actually going to be the winner of this match. Okay, it started to come back to me a little bit, but I'm still going to go back and rewatch that match because I'm just like, what the fuck? How do I not remember a Bianca Becky Charlotte match?
Right, exactly. And I think it's going to it'll be a fun watch again because like Becky is a different character, even though she's champion, and then you got Sasha and you got Bianca, who's like clearly, you know, still on the rise. I think even now, like she's just like amazing.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that very much. And of course we have her feud or her, mixing it up with Lita. Do you remember this?
A little bit.
Elimination Chamber. Okay, so this was like more recent, but it was also a part of
It
one
was
of
a
these
good
like
thing
Saudi Arabia things.
because we all know how Becky felt about Lita or feels about Lita. Like Lita's one of her idols, and she would talk about saying how she used to wear her thong like Lita and her pants going to school and stuff. So it's you said it and it sent chills up my spine. Like why we really never got a full, match feud or whatever. It was literally a teaser.
Kind of like her, last match. But all in all, I love that, Becky came back SummerSlam 2021 and then 2022, Bianca gets her redemption, which was amazing. Yes, as she should. And now she's gone again on injury, back to being a mom. How did you feel about her big time Becks this year that she came back? How did you feel about it?
First of all, I love that she was back. I'm never not gonna love when Becky returns. I love big time Becks. I want to see what she comes back as now because before she left, she turned babyface to help Bianca against Dakota Kai and Io Sky and Bailey, which you were there for. So I'm pretty sure. I'm surprised you even have your hearing at this point because you were definitely there in the arena for that.
Yo,
like I just kept kicking myself. I'm like, why am I not there?
Again was amazing. Then Bianca's reactions and the match with her and Bianca was so good. And
it was really good. And what I love about
really
Bianca,
good job of like,
go ahead.
I love like they teased it a lot, especially at their match at WrestleMania. Becky and Bianca, like they did a lot of like, because she did beat Bianca in like 15 seconds or whatever it was, and we were upset about that, and it wasn't right. So every match they had, they like teased it a little bit, and it was just like, yo, you got like we was at Mania 38, like okay, y'all gotta stop. Y'all about to have us riding out here if Bianca does not win.
I was about ready. I was ready. Okay.
Yo,
38 was like.
I think everything she did for Bianca during that year return, I think is probably the highlight, as well as like her character development and being able to reinvent herself. I think is like the highlight of that. Like,
I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. And Bianca's going to new heights and soaring to new places where she's just like, man, we got to catch up. Gotta catch up. So I'm really intrigued to see how Becky comes back.
Me too.
Because like I said, she left out on injury. She left out a baby face. And then when Bianca was promoting stuff, Becky was there, was her and Snoop and all of them. I really just want to see how Becky comes back. And I'm like I said before, I'm really hoping that Becky comes back at War Games because she has some unfinished business with Damage Control.
She does. That'd be super cute. Or you got Royal Rumble season coming up soon. Like she could always come back for that.
But I don't think they're gonna build it right. I feel like,
and if she's not gonna win, what's the point of the surprise entrance?
Right.
I feel you, but I am excited for that. I'm also just want to point out everything she's done as like a working mother, because I hear like even who was it who recently said something about it? Johnny Gargano's wife. I can't think of her name right now.
Candice LeRae.
Yeah, she just said like Becky inspire her and motivate her. Like, she's able to do it. Like Becky, I remember her talking shit. Like she goes, breastfeeds her baby, beats Becky and Bianca and all of them in like 15 seconds and, does her thing. And, Becky being the star that she is, was able to do that. I feel like she probably had a little more freedom than most people just because of who she is. But her showing, like, she came back in better shape than before pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And she came back still at the top of her game and still was, someone that we all wanted to watch. And I got to give it to her. I got to give it to her mainstream appeal. I got to, she really became a star. And no one thought she would be the one to become the megastar that she did when you look back at her debut.
That's true. And I actually, when we was at WrestleMania 38, I actually interviewed Becky.
Nice.
This is when she was champ, and we know she spoke about her daughter and being a part of it and like what she had expected. We know she kept bringing up the Bianca thing and this and the third. So I think we should put that in here and let them watch that. What do you think?
That's so cute. I don't think we've even released any of that. So that would be.
We have not released any of that. So guys, we want to say thank you for joining us on this Becky episode.
I love this Becky series.
This Becky series unfortunately is over, but don't worry, we're going to have more series coming your way. So please stay tuned. I
want to do Oscar. If y'all think we should do Oscar, let us know.
Didn't we do an episode on Oscar though? We did a spotlight on Oscar. I'm pretty sure we did. Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, I would let us know what you want to see us cover. And make sure you use our code on Manscaped.
Yes, those wrestling girls. Manscaped.
10% off. Get your balls clean and shaven and all that good stuff. Take care of your nose hairs and your ears hairs and all that for the holidays.
And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube, our Patreon. I have new sound offs coming out every week. So please stay tuned for the sound off. New sound off with Krista B and Christina Crispa Contreras.
Yeah.
Okay? 1/3 or 2/3 of Thirsty Thursdays. And we hope to see you on Thirsty Thursday. So please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. On that note, it's your girl Krista B.
And Queen PR.
We are out of here, and please enjoy this Becky interview.
Oh, hello there. It is big time. Becks, the Raw Women's Champion, the Eternal Champ, held this title for 3 years. 3 years, nobody's been able to beat me. And at WrestleMania, Bianca is just going to be another loser on my list.
Queen PR, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless, podcast bringing up women and wrestling, let's go.